Hello and welcome to the Boundary Line. My name is Khatley Solorato. It's a great honor being with you here today. Today is a big one, man. We have the president of Northwest Cricket. I am not alone. My host is joining me. Mr. Pale, welcome to the Boundary Line.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Mr. President. And thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to have you on the Boundary Line podcast, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Yes, can you hear me?
yeah, we
Uh,
can hear you now.
good afternoon, Khatliso, and to Papang as well. Good afternoon to both of you and to all your viewers as well. And thank you for the opportunity to having me on your podcast. It's much appreciated, and yeah, I look forward to it as well.
Okay, so Mr. President, preparing for this podcast, I've tried to go to Google and find just something about you, man. There is nothing. I'm like, my goodness, that's me now. The dynamic of the whole interview had to change and to make this a profile interview. Can you please just give us your background? Who are you? Where did you grow up in, the school you attended, and take us through your journey, your cricket journey.
Um, so, born and bred in Clarkston, in the Northwest. I've schooled my primary years at KSS, and then my high school I did at Al Huda Muslim School, also in Menzel Park in Clarkston.
Yeah.
I played school cricket. So obviously, my school never played cricket, when I was there. So I played for KSS for my primary school because it's a primary and a high school. So I played for them
Yeah.
for a period. Even though I was at Al Huda, they allowed me to play for them. I played for them for a while. I then played for Milner High School as well for a short period of time as well. Um, and then I played a lot of club cricket. So I played club cricket from the age of 10, actually. It was the first time I joined club cricket. For some reason, I don't know, I always end up playing with or associating with people much older than me. Uh,
That means you're good.
so from a young age, I played club cricket, and that's where I played most of my cricket back in the day. Um, Represented Northwest, went to Namibia with Northwest in 2007. Um, we did a tour to Namibia, and then when I got back from Namibia, I think about 2 months later or something, I've actually met up in a four-wheeler accident, and I was out for about 8 months. And during that period, I actually missed out on the trials for, I think it was under 15, if I'm not mistaken. And at the time they used to call it the PG Bison Week. Due to the injury, I couldn't attend the trials. So I missed out on that period. When I got back from there, from injury, it wasn't smooth sailing as I would have liked.
Yes.
It was very, from a mental point, it was quite difficult. A lot of pressure on myself to perform,
Yeah.
to do well, because my dad was also the vice president of Northwest Cricket at the time, which he served for many years on the
Yeah.
board of Northwest Cricket. He also served on the sports council, the local sports council of Matlosana for uh, quite a long period of time. So, with all of that also there's some sort of pressure on you to perform well. Everyone
Yeah.
always reference you, your dad, on the board, and all those type of things. So the pressure wasn't easy, and I think to an extent was my downfall, because I
Yeah.
actually took that, a bit too seriously, in a sense, that you got to score runs, you got to perform. And today I sit back and I think and I realize, that was instead of just going out and enjoying the game and, playing
yeah,
cricket and, just having fun, for me it was, I need to perform, I need to score runs, I need to do well. And all of that sort of had a negative impact on my performances itself. And I would walk onto the field thinking, today I need to get runs, today I need to get runs.
yeah,
And as we went, as you bet, while you bet in, because your mind is not there, you're not assessing the game, the conditions of the
yeah,
game, what your team needs. You're only thinking, I need the runs. I can't, not score again. And you end up playing loose shots, making stupid decisions. And before you know it, you're back in the pavilion again. And I think that was a big downfall for me. I actually lost the love for the game for a period also during that time where because nothing was going my way. The mental pressure was a bit much as well.
yeah,
And I decided, look, I'm just going to focus on playing club cricket and just, do what I like. So I started doing that. I finished my matric in 2012.
Yes.
In 2013, I was doing a coaching course through Northwest Cricket, the level one. The idea was I was taking a gap year. The
Yeah.
idea was to go to the UK and play some cricket and, just enjoy myself away from Northwest Cricket, if I can put it to you that way, where there's
Yeah.
no pressure and you just go and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
And as I was doing my level one, it was, I think, Monday to Thursday was the lectures or in the program. On a Friday, you write your main exam. And
Yeah.
the Friday morning, my dad passed away.
Oh
Uh,
no.
so, he passed on the Friday, and obviously everything changed from there. The
Yeah.
Monday, forget about the studies, forget about, all of that. Because the idea was obviously once I come back from the UK, the next year was, going to university and going to study. I always had a passion for business. I
Yeah.
applied for business to study business administration,
Yeah.
which I was accepted for. But obviously, I decided then to take the gap year. But yeah, I then had to put all of that on hold, and I went into the business. At the time, he had a flooring business, my dad, so took over that.
Yeah.
And that's where the administration of cricket also started around that time. So just to track back a bit,
Yeah.
administration as a whole started a bit earlier than that. In my younger days, I used to play soccer as well.
Yeah.
So we had our own soccer club that we came up with, and I used to run that as well. And I'm talking, I was what, 16, 16,
Yeah.
around 16, 17. Uh, I started running, the soccer club. We played in the senior league, the local senior league as well. So that's where the administration part of it came in. And then obviously fast forward, when I had to take over the business and so on, I sort of left the soccer part of it, and I just started playing soccer as recreational and no administrative duties or anything
Yeah.
of that sort. Um, and I think it was about a couple of months after my dad passed on, because he passed on in April. So it was around June, July, somewhere around there during the off season. I recalled the club guys that were in charge of the club, the committee, and I asked them. I said, guys, I've got all the documentation, all the paperwork, and everything of the club. You guys need to come and collect it and sort out whatever it is. And then I can obviously give you whatever documentation you need to remove him, from the committee and bank accounts
Yeah.
or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So they said, no, it's fine. They came in, they came to collect the stuff. And the one guy is like, no, but you know what, we had a chat and we had a meeting and we want you to get involved in the committee as well. And I said, guys,
Yeah.
you know what, I've never been in the business. So I'm still learning the business. to
Yeah.
start things off with. You want to put me into cricket as well, cricket administration. I don't think I've got the time or to even look at it. I still got to learn the business. But
Yeah.
they were quite adamant. They then said, okay, they'll chat again. They'll come back. I think about a week later, the whole committee pitched up at the business premises, and they all sat down and they're like, no, we're not taking no for an answer. You need to take this up.
Yeah.
It was your dad's legacy. That's what he fought for. This is what he
Yeah.
but he built over the many years as a cricket administrator. If you're
Yeah.
not going to take it over, after a few years, it's going to die out. Um, so you need to take over. And then sat back, and at that time also a lot of things are running through your mind.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, you know what? I'll give it a try. I was
Mm.
only 18 years old at the time.
Mm.
Wow.
So I said, cool. And I started. And I think at that time we had 5 senior teams
Yeah.
registered to the club and a junior team that was
Yeah.
registered to the club. We also had 2 stadiums that were under the club name that we were responsible for. So
Yeah.
it was quite a bit. It was a lot, from logistics to, prepping the field for the weekends, for the game days, liaising with municipality to, get the facilities in order and so on. But we got through.
Yeah.
Initially was difficult. We I had the hard times, but I think that also what gave me a lot of lessons that I took from there. In terms of how to organize, how to liaise with guys, and then
Yeah.
also from the administrative point, speaking to and addressing companies to assist, whether it be transport, whether it be equipment, whatever it may be, liaising with coaches, running programs, at grassroots level, all of that type of thing. And I did that for about from 2013 right up to 2021.
Yes.
Uh, that's when I got elected as the vice president. So it was a good 10, almost 10 years that I was
Training.
there at club level. We
Yeah.
obviously increased our team. So from 5 senior teams, we went to 7 senior teams
Yeah.
when I left.
Yeah.
We also, we did we got relegated from the Premier League, but then we also got promotion back into the Premier League. During my tenure at the club,
Yeah.
financially we were good. We obviously not a lot of money, but for club itself, we were quite good. We did quite well as well.
Yeah.
We managed to do whatever we wanted to do. Um, you know, we all know today also, with municipality and so on, you got to have a bit extra financial backing to run a club, whether it be looking after sports field or whatever it may be. So with all of that and those hurdles that came in the way, we managed to overcome all of that.
Yeah.
In 2018, if I'm not 2017, 2018, somewhere around there, I
Yeah.
came onto the members council of Northwest Cricket. So
Yes.
just before that, when the previous board was in at that elections, I actually got nominated to be a representative for, at that time they had a lower league representative and
Yeah.
a Premier League representative. So for the lower leagues, because at that time members council were made up of the chairpersons of all the Premier League clubs,
Yeah.
and they had a lower league representative.
Yes.
So I was nominated from the floor at the AGM to be a lower league representative, which at the time I declined initially, because of, still the club and business and, all other things that
Yeah.
were happening. And then thereafter, I came on as a members council rep. So during our administrative period, I was a representative as well on the members council.
Yes.
And in 2021 is when I got approached by clubs to say, you know, the presidential and the vice presidential elections are up. Uh, don't you want
Yeah.
to contest for one of them?
Yeah.
And I told them, look, I don't think I'm ready to take the presidential
A
spot
position.
as yet,
Yeah.
but I'm willing to take the vice presidential spot. And with the condition that I've got someone on top of me that I can learn from.
Yes.
And that I can gain knowledge from and understand the inner workings of the organization and so on.
Yeah.
And it's just cricket in general. And yeah, we went through that. I became the vice president in 2021, and in obviously now in 2024 after the first term, obviously clubs came back and said, listen. We want you to take the presidential position, and I said, look,
Yeah.
me reasons why, and they obviously we sat down and they gave me the reasons why, and uh, I said, look, I'll do it on condition that all the clubs want me. I don't want just one side of clubs, or just one faction or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Must be
Yeah.
a unanimous decision from clubs to say, listen, this is the road, this is the route we want to go, and we want to put our confidence in you to take us forward. I said it's only that condition would I take the position. And yeah, it worked out that way. And in obviously August 2024, I was voted in as the president of Northwest Cricket.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been, I won't say difficult, it's been enjoyable, if I can say it that way. A lot of learnings as well. Got a very good board, a very strong board as well. So that
Yeah.
makes it, uh, tough at times, but in a good way, not in a bad way. It
Yeah.
makes it, because they always get you if you make a mistake, or if you do, you head in, the wrong way, they would pull
Yeah.
you very quickly back in. They would
Yeah.
call you out if you're not doing something right, or they don't agree with you.
Yeah.
And if you're doing well, they would support you in that. So
Yeah.
I think we got a very good blend of directors on the board.
Yeah.
Expertise wise as well, I think we've got a good blend of them as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's an exciting time for Northwest Cricket.
Okay. Bakang.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, Mr. President, what an indifferent journey from your playing days to you being involved in a four-wheel drive thingy, accident, and then you going back, and then at the end of the day deciding, oh, nah, you know what, I'm gonna go into the administration side of things. Between that period, because I heard you said you took over at the age of 18. Obviously, everyone is expecting that an 18-year-old should be playing. An 18-year-old should be on the field and what. But at what point did you decide after they approached you that, you know what, I think I'm done with being on the pitch, so I wanna be on the administrative side of things now full time.
So I never actually stopped playing itself. So even though I went into administrative role, the one condition that I put to them was to say that I can't stop playing cricket. Um, so I'll take a break for a year or so, to understand the administrative part of things or whatever. And also it helped me for my business as well, because I was new to that as well. So I said, I'm going to take a 1 year break from playing for the first season, and then I will come back and play again, because I'm not giving up cricket at such a young age.
Yeah.
So that's where, at 18, I took a 1 year gap, and then I came back, and then I continued playing. So I served as a chairperson of the club, and I played as well, at the club itself. Very difficult to balance out at times, especially on game days itself when you've got teams traveling out of town. You got to, ensure that their transport is on time. The team is full. They've got a full team to go and participate. They've got drinks and all of that stuff, sort of things for them. Then you got to get to the field early in the morning. 6:30 you get to the field. You make sure that the field is prepped. The guys have rolled, the covers are off. All of that. There was a lot of rush. On a game day, because you're doing now your administrative duties as a club chairperson, and then you also need to prep yourself for game day. And when you're in the Premier League, there's obviously the lunches that you got to arrange for both teams, home and away, your umpires, scorers, all of that. So making sure that the caterer, whoever's catering, they got to sort, be on time, all of that. So funny enough, sometimes you're standing there, and I was a wicket-keeper batsman, and you're standing there and you realize now, okay, it's around 12, 1 o'clock side, and now you're in the game, but there's a part of one eye is looking at the gate to see the caterer coming. He shouldn't be late, because once we walk off the field, the umpire expects all the food to be here. So difficult to balance out, but it was something that I managed, and I think I managed it, and it worked out at the end. But just back to the first part of your question, when did I decide, or how long afterwards? So it took me about a week to decide. Okay, you know what? Let me take it on. Let me take the administrative role on, and let's see. Let me challenge myself and see how we go about it. Yeah, and it was challenging, to be honest, in the start, and then obviously once you get the grips of how it works and so on, becomes a bit easier. Doesn't mean the problems go away; it just becomes a bit easier to manage.
Yeah, no, true. I hear you. For you as a young person, then remember that there's the pressure of champing, and you were playing, and this side you've taken over the administration type of thing. So there was a lot of pressure, and then ego as an 18, a young man who wants to be there and then wants to be on the administration and is also involved on the administration type of thing. So it could have not been easy for you, I can imagine. And then I'm sure maybe the support from your side, from your teammates, or even people, the support structure, I believe it was proper for you to end up being the president of Northwest Cricket years later. I think it's something commendable, man, for a young man to have to take it up to his stride to say, you know what, I'm I'm gonna take this side of the business, although it came with challenges, and then I'm gonna chin up and face my challenges and go to that, man. So I guess that the difficulties led to you being where you are right.
No, 100%, and thank you for that. So the one thing that I also did, as a player at that time, I said, as a team, we appointed obviously the captain and the vice captain of the team, and I always reassured them, and I always told them, I said, guys, when we cross this boundary line and we go on the field, I'm a player. If you need to swear me, you swear me. If you need to tell me to get off and where to get off, you do that. You're the captain, you're the vice captain. I don't want to play a role. When I walk on here, I'm a player. I don't want to be involved in, decision making or inputs, from that point, a leadership point on the field. So that obviously, I kept on reassuring whoever my captains were to say, guys, when we walk on here, you the boss. You decide the strategy, you decide how we go forward, and I'll always support you no matter what. I'll always support you in that role. And I guess that also, it helped me feel So when I was on the field, it helped me enjoy the game a bit more because you sort of forget the responsibility that you have outside of the field. So it
Yeah.
helped me enjoy the game a bit more and to play a bit more freely as well,
Mm.
to an extent. And as an 18-year-old, you can imagine walking in to a meeting room with people that are much older than you. Till today it happens. I mean, wherever I go, I'm always the youngest man in the room.
Yeah.
No matter
Yeah.
which meeting I walk into, I'm always the youngest person in the room. So, that part also was difficult. I had to figure out, how to, have that respect for your elders, but
Mm.
also, say what you need to say and voice your opinion as well. So that part also in the start challenging, but I figured it out afterwards. As you move along. When I got to members council as well. So at the time, Uncle Archie was an administrator. Uh,
Yeah.
you had guys on the members council that my dad served with. You know
Yeah.
I was, they seen me running in my nappies because,
Yeah.
they've been in the system for so many years. We used to go to, back in the day in the 90s, Northwest
Yeah.
Cricket used to have their boss parade in Sun City and so on. And I was a small kid running around in my nappies. And so, I literally grew up in front of these people. And then today you're sitting around a table with them, and
Yeah.
you're having, a meeting with them, and that finding that balance between the respect and still be able to voice your opinion and so on,
Yeah.
initially was challenging because you feel
Yeah.
like you don't want to disrespect them, but you also don't want to keep quiet. That's because that's not my nature to just let something go without putting my voice across.
Yeah.
In my opinion across. So it was a bit difficult, but at the end of the day, I learned and I told myself, I said, when we walk into the room, into a meeting room, we all at one level, no matter the
Yeah.
age, no
Yeah.
matter the experience, no matter whatever it is. We all here to serve. We all here, because there's a constituency that put you in that place, in that position. So we all here for the same reason. So when we in the meeting room, you know, everything else falls out. It's only about the business of the day. That's what we did. What's the most important. And then obviously once the meeting is adjourned or you walk out of a room, then it's uncle, and
Yeah.
then the respect comes back again, and you then
Yeah.
obviously treat it in that way.
So, Mr. President, listening to your journey, from playing the cricket from the schools, it talks to development. And as in the country, you are facing a very difficult situation when it comes to the development of cricket. There are kids from the rural areas who don't have those equipment to equip them well to go further with cricket. How important is the development in terms of having the right infrastructure, and how do you tackle that now that you are essentially the boss in the Northwest?
So development is obviously, the heart and soul of a sporting organization. Without development, there's obviously no professional team and there's no academy, there's nothing else.
Yeah.
It all starts off at development level. That's where,
Yeah.
any sport starts off at. Um, in South Africa, we faced with particularly a very difficult situation. Economy isn't that
Yeah.
great. Money isn't that easy to come by.
Yeah.
And as much as we, an organization, from a CSA point, they fund us, for certain activities and certain things that we need to carry out for them based on a scorecard activity basis.
Yeah.
And that is there, but obviously, it's they also chose which areas, and based on their homework that they've done, they've chose the certain areas where the hubs should come in, where those type of things should happen.
Yeah.
with the development for us at this point, clubs and club committees played a vital role in that department, because
Yes.
as Northwest Cricket, we don't have the funding. It would be nice to fund everyone with everything, but
Yes.
the money is not there. The economy doesn't talk to what we would love to do. You businesses are not so open to giving money because they themselves are struggling. And as we know in Northwest, you don't have so many big businesses like you would in Gauteng or
Yes.
KZN or Western Province. So you
Mm.
sit in with probably one or two corporate companies only in the Northwest. And then also from a mining perspective, also there's just I think a couple of them that are around. You don't have what we used to before with the Anglo Gold, Ashanti, and all of those guys. And they're also pulling back. They don't have the funding to fund. So it becomes very difficult to balance it out. And to find a way to, with the little money and the little resources you have, how do you still get to everybody, and how do you still get to all parts of the province? So it is a very difficult act to balance, but that's
Mm.
where clubs come in, and
Yeah.
club development comes into play.
Mm.
And one of the things that I've made a priority for myself during this tenure of mine is to upskill club administrators,
Yes.
because ultimately, cricket can't be played without a coach. It can't be
Yes.
played without a player, and
Yes.
it can't be played without a match official, right?
Yeah.
But we tend to forget the administrator, because if it isn't for the administrator, you don't have a player, you don't have a match official, and you don't have a coach.
Yes.
They all, at some point in their life, at a young age, there was some administrator with a passion for the game that brought them in and nurtured them and gave them the opportunity to play, whether it be mini cricket, whether it be school cricket, whatever. There was an administrator that started the whole process, and we
Mm.
always put focus on players and coaches and match officials, but we forget about the administrator.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel it's important for us to put some resources behind upskilling our administrators, as a starting point, to
Yeah.
upskill them, so that they can go back to their regions and their areas where they come from, and implement those ideas and those learnings that they take from the causes that we would like to put forward to them. If you
Yes.
have a strong uh, committee at club level that is strong from a governance perspective and from a development point, you'll
Yeah.
see how well the club will grow, number one, and how well you'll find players moving up the chain and up the ladder to the top. But if you have weak administrators, then you won't find that happening. You'll find players, either just playing for the love of it, but things are not happening the way it's supposed to be happening. There isn't that environment that's created for them to excel in. And the one thing I've also noticed, at club level, we tend to have, clubs that are, run by one or two people, which
Yeah.
one or two people can only do so much. Two hands and two hands can only do so much. That's why it's
Mm.
important that we also create that platform at that level where they can have proper committee structures in place. One guy is dealing with finance, one guy is dealing with, the playing part of it, or two guys who are playing part of it, and one guy
Mm.
maybe stakeholder relations and those type of things. And so you distribute the responsibility, because at that level people got their own jobs, they've got their family. This is just for the love of the game, and
Yeah.
for them to go out, you can't expect them to put their whole day and night into club cricket.
Yeah.
The family wouldn't be able to eat. So you need to have that structure where you have, a couple of guys in a committee and shared responsibility where one guy can be responsible. Let's go out to businesses. Let's go and introduce the club to businesses. One guy can do the recruiting part of it. The other guy can together with the coaching part of it. And once you have that going, you'll see the difference in the performance of that club as well as the players and how they automatically start moving up. You'll also find clubs that become more self-sustainable as well, because now you have a guy that he's reaching out to businesses, he's reaching out to people that he know who can assist the club, whether it be clothing, equipment, transport money, whatever it may be. And that makes a difference because every rent counts at the end of the day. Because remember also from Cricket South Africa, they don't provide money to fund a full program. Everything they do is based on a subsidy. So they would tell you, and even if it's based on a compulsory activity that you need to do, it's not fully funded by CSA. They'll always tell you, we only provide you with a subsidy. You need to go and find the rest of the money. So, with that being said, you sort of, whatever money you have, you need to move it into places and ensure that the activities that are compulsory by Cricket South Africa first and foremost are taken care of, and thereafter you can then look at the other things that you want to do to grow the game and to grow the organization. But to answer you in short, the first thing that I want to do, and it's the first thing on my list, is to upskill our administrators at grassroots level, so that they can, start putting structures in place from the bottom up, so that everyone at every level can be sustainable and no one becomes dependent or fully dependent on Northwest Cricket to provide them with, funding or equipment or whatever that is. And I think that there talks about long-term sustainability as well.
Bakang?
Mr. President, just to add on to that, as to with the limited ones that you have, the little number that you have, how would you say, progress-wise, how would you say are you headed to the right direction, or is it an area that you first need to have a set number of administrators that you want to upskill, or to have more so that you have the far reaching? Because as you've been saying, with businesses and not wanting to take out money and Northwest being vast, remember, like your hotel, because your Northwest, you're looking at your Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, your Bojana, and those other regions that they are part of the Northwest, grassroots, the pipeline of the Northwest. So how would you say, with where you are right now, is the progress, and where would you want to see yourself, let's say, before your tenure ends?
So, as a kickstart to this whole process, we have put aside money that we've received through Lotto. So we've put aside money that will assist the clubs to kickstart them off. That money will go towards equipment. It will go towards clothing for the clubs, and it will go towards transport. That will fund them for for the next 2 years, or a year and a half, 2 years. So let's say the next 2 seasons, for example. And that's sort of a thing to kickstart them off, firstly. And where we are now as an organization, we all know what happened to Northwest Cricket and where we found ourselves in. And when we came in as a board in 2021, the situation was quite bad. We were in a dire situation financially. There was no money at all. Myself and the president at that time were even called at some point to say we might not have enough funding to pay salaries as well.
Yeah.
And so it was really bad. We had no
Yeah.
sponsors. We had literally nothing. We were living off, the money we received from CSA and so on. And
Mm.
we were sort of, I always put it and I put it in this context, and I say we were nose diving into a mountain. That's
Yeah.
where we were heading to. We're nose diving into a mountain.
Mm.
We managed to turn the plane around, and we're moving on an upward trajectory.
Yeah.
However, with that being said, also, we're not out of the woods as yet.
Yeah.
We 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 have a mountain that's here in front of us, and the plane is here. So we need
Yeah.
to now get that plane to lift even further and fly over the mountain. So it's
Yeah.
not that we already over the mountain and we flying in the sky and it's all rosy. We here we need to get over that mountain still.
Yeah.
And I would like to see. So I'm actually currently busy with a sustainability plan, a strategic sustainability plan that I'm putting
Yeah.
together with the office as well, that talks to what I would like us to achieve and what I would like us um, to execute in the
Yeah.
next 2 years. And it starts, immediately once that plan is approved by the board. So we've got a board meeting in June, and that's where I'll be presenting my plan to the board in full. That talks to every aspect of Northwest cricket, from commercial to cricket, marketing, HR. It talks to everything, and the direction that I would like to see us going into. And once that is approved, or if there's any amendments from the board or whatever it may be, but once we have an approved document, that will then be executed immediately.
Yeah.
Some of those things are, it talks to the financial sustainability of the organization.
Yes.
And, it talks about how do we take Northwest cricket from where we are now to the next level? How do we make Northwest cricket, a world-renowned sporting organization that is known for excellence? It's known for high performance. It's known for, it's got a winning mentality and a winning culture. And, in order to do all of this, it all requires money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, how do we first need to find the money. We need to find ways to generate revenue. We need to find ways to do certain things. And we also need to accept, as Northwest Cricket, that there are certain things we're going to have to do that might not sit well with everyone. But that is, short-term pain for long-term success.
Mm.
Uh, we need to do things differently to then how we are doing it now. We need to think differently.
Yeah.
When I had a meeting with the executive, uh, and when I was giving them the plan of what I want, I told them, I said, guys, we need to think outside the box.
Yeah.
We need to become unorthodox in our thinking.
Yeah.
We can't think this and do things, the same way it's been done. We can't look at, we got to take the positives from other organizations and see how they've done things, but not just within the cricket space, but within the sporting space itself as a whole. We look
Yeah.
at, all the different types of sporting codes that there is, and find the success and the parts that work in those environments, and how can we bring that into Northwest cricket, and how can we utilize that to take us to the next level. And
Mm.
like I say, it's short-term pain for long-term success.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to make some hard decisions. We're gonna have to do certain things, and it's all with the best interest of the organization, and how do we take the organization forward, because we can't be going in the same trajectory or the same direction we're going in, we currently are on, and
Sorry.
expect a different result. It's never going to happen. you gotta change. Somewhere along the line, things need to change for us to move into the right direction.
Yes. So, Mr. President, race plays the biggest role, in cricket. As we know that in South Africa, we are divided within racial line when it comes to cricket, and there is a perception out there that for the longest of time, Northwest Cricket have been servicing only those predominantly white region, like or white places like your Klerksdorp and your Potchefstroom and parts of Rustenburg. And when I started, getting involved in the issues of Northwest, there were a very ugly, war that's going on between the white employee and the black employee. How do you deal? How is the race issue first of all at Northwest Cricket at the moment, and then how are you going to change the perception that even in the development, the Northwest Cricket is only looking out for white cricket teams?
So, I know that is the perception that's out there that was created, some time back, but that has changed a lot over the years. So
Yeah.
I'll give you a couple of examples, right? So to start off with, Northwest Cricket is if you look at the organogram of our employees, uh,
Yes.
we we quite well within our transformation agenda.
Yes. Yeah.
We've got a lot of the positions that when they were filled, when they became vacant, it was filled by non-white individuals. You we so we I am of this view that we cannot say we need to replace every white person with a colored person,
With a black person.
right?
Yes.
I'm not of that view. I'm of the view that if you want to create unity and you want to create a country or an organization that has unity, you have to bring everyone together. But as soon as we
Yeah.
say, black and white, you
Yes.
creating a divide in that.
Mm.
So I've said, we at this point have to reach a time
Yeah.
because there's enough professionals in every aspect from every race, whether you talk black,
Yeah.
whether you talk white, Indian, colored, there is enough professionals in every race. We need to
Yes.
appoint the best person for the job.
Yeah.
That person, it can be a black person, it can be an Indian person, it can be a colored person, it can be a white person, because we've got
Yeah.
enough depth in every race that there is. So
Yeah.
to say, white and black, I think we've passed that, we should be past that as a country. We should be
Yeah.
looking at how do we bring everyone together. How do we
Mm.
get the best person for the job?
For the
And
job. Yes.
ultimately, it's natural because once you have that depth in your previously disadvantaged communities, once you have that depth,
Yeah.
you automatically see them, coming through and taking over higher roles and so on. And I think we've reached that level where they are there and they are taking over those roles based on
Mm.
not based on the skin, the color of their skin, but based on
Yes.
what
The
they can
ability.
contribute and their knowledge and so on and their expertise. So I
Mm.
think we're at that point now. So that's the first part, right? The second part, in terms of what we do for our previously disadvantaged areas and so on. So part of the funding that we've got from Lotto as well, we've allocated a portion to also assist because in the Taung area there isn't a lot of cricket that's happening there. In a sense,
Yes.
there's one club who the guy is doing really
By
well.
the way, by the way, I'm from Taung.
Okay.
Yeah.
we've got a gentleman there by the name of Dafita who's doing really well. You know, he's very passionate about the game, and he really tries. He
Yeah.
really does, he's doing well. I must say that. Um, but it's also difficult for him. Like I said, he's one
Yeah.
man. It's difficult. Schools don't really play
Yeah.
cricket on that side, and he reached out
Yeah.
and he said, "Listen, how do we get schools, the kids to play in the school league as well? Because as you know, at age group cricket, you got to play school cricket to make the provincial teams.
Yes.
That's if you don't play school cricket, it's very difficult, if impossible to make a school to make
Yeah.
the youth team.
Yes.
Because it falls within the school and the youth structure. So
Yeah.
we've put aside some funding to assist the kids in that area
Yeah.
to participate in the school league
Yes.
in that district, so that they
Yes.
can also have that opportunity, to participate there.
Mm.
So we are looking at, how can we assist other areas as well, um, with the limited resources that we have. We try and
Yes.
find, ways that we can work with them. How do we maybe get government or departments involved where we can assist, or where it might be out of our reach or out of our budget. How do
Yes.
we go about that? So there is always that engagement to see how can we continue grow the game outside of your Dr. KK and Bojanala areas.
Yes.
From a support point for previously disadvantaged kids. So we've got four
Yeah.
hubs uh, in the Northwest. One is in
Yes.
Ikageng, one is in Matlosana, one is in Rustenburg, one is in Lichtenburg. These four hubs were allocated to these areas by Cricket South Africa. So it's not us who chose the hubs or the areas for the hubs. This was done, a study was done, and research, and all the homework that went into it by Cricket South Africa. And they came back and
Yeah.
said, okay, we've chosen this area, this area, this area, where the hubs
Yeah.
must go. The idea behind the hubs is the hub adopt for primary and for high schools in and around the area where they're based. So
Yeah.
it's all based in townships. So it has to adopt schools within the township areas. And these hubs are partly funded. So it's not fully funded, it's partly funded by Cricket South Africa. So they give
Yeah.
you money, you got to hire 3 coaches, plus you got to run under 13, under 13,
Yeah.
15, under 13, 15, 17, 19 boys and girls
Yeah.
teams, right? So we know Northwest, how vast is it? When a team
Yeah.
has to travel from one place to the other, you can imagine
Yeah.
what that transport bill costs.
Yeah.
We've realized that if we want to get our previously disadvantaged and our players of color to the same level as the advantaged kids, and the privileged kids, we need to get them to play against the privileged kids, or play against the kids that go to these private schools more often,
Yeah.
because then we
Mm.
can that's how we're going to level the playing field. And this was done a
Yeah.
couple of years ago, where we took our hubs, our two best hubs, and we told the school committee the hubs are going to be playing in the school league. We will
Yeah.
fund the transport and the food for the kids for those games. We will make sure they're there on time. We'll liaise with Department of Education and so on to get early release for them from the schools and so on. And they've played well. So obviously when they started off, you could see the difference. It was like this. There's a big
Yeah.
difference. But now those same hubs are competing head to head with the biggest schools in the province.
Yeah.
And that's based on the high performance training that we give to these kids at the hubs. We run camps for them, where we invite consultants from outside outside the province, from Cricket South Africa. We
Yeah.
invite we run all of these high performance camps, winter camps, and all of these type of things to give them, a platform, and to give them the opportunity to upskill themselves and to raise their own level of their own level as a player. And
Yes.
all of that also costs money. It doesn't come cheap. It costs a lot of money to hire these consultants to bring all of this. So like I said earlier, we identify what is the best way and how do we utilize the little resources that we have to to give to cricket and to give an opportunity to the disadvantaged kids as well when they go for the trials for the provincial weeks. You must remember this is run by the school committee. The school committee is independent to Northwest Cricket. We don't control them. The school committee runs the trials. There's fees that they pay. Every kid pays to once they're chosen for their districts and so on, that they're going to pay for the transport and the accommodation and all of it for the district weeks. We subsidize all our players of color, all our disadvantaged players. We subsidize all of them. When they go to the national weeks, those that are selected, we subsidize the disadvantaged kids as well. We pay for their fees that we're going to pay to whichever union or to Cricket South Africa, whoever's hosting the national or the regional weeks. We pay all of that as well. And it's not, it's not small money that we're talking about. If you accumulate all of it and you put it all to one sum, it comes out to quite a hefty amount. So, like I go back and I say, with the little resources that we have, we try and find ways to utilize it in the best way where we can actually see, results, where we can see a kid that comes from a disadvantaged area and the day he turns 18 or the day he turns 19, he lives in a better space than we found him in. Whether it be from an education point, whether it be from a cricket journey, whatever it may be, that is the goal, to try and get them to move up the levels and to move up in the ecosystem so that when they turn 18 or 19, they sort of, at a much better place where there is the opportunity for them to continuously grow and maybe go into academy, get a bursary to study at the university, maybe make, national academies and so on and so forth. So, or even to the Dragons team, that is the goal. So it's all about, utilizing the resources and finding ways to utilize it in the best way that will actually change lives, and have impact on lives with the biggest value, if I can put it to you that way. But yeah, it is also noted that there is areas that are underfunded. There is areas that does need a lot of work, but that's where, again, the administrative force and setting up those structures at that level will come in and play a part to provide opportunity in those areas and to lift those areas up again. So I firmly believe once we have that administrative structure in place at all the different areas, you'll see a difference in players coming in and getting an opportunity, whether to play mini cricket or social cricket or whatever it may be. But you'll find those kids getting that opportunity to play the game.
Okay, Mr. Pale.
Mr. President, I would like to know what is from your small kid who will maybe start off at mini cricket and be spotted to say this one has got potential, and then potentially growing the player to become as a pro tier one day, or maybe playing for Northwest Cricket first team, so to speak, and playing in the CSA challenges. Say it like, let's say you're explaining it to someone who doesn't know how the structure works as to how is there the player progress track from when he was spotted from grassroots, and then how do they um, grow him to become that player from grassroots level to, let's say, semi-professional or even professional.
So it's quite important, like I mentioned earlier, at a younger age to play school cricket. Because that's where you get noticed, and that's where you get selected for the various provincial age group teams, right? So let's go a few steps back. So obviously you play mini cricket. It's about fun. It's mass participation. That's the idea behind mini cricket. Uh, we and Cricket South Africa has recognized that there's a gap between mini cricket and hardball cricket. If you look at the numbers tell you that we lose out on a lot of players or a lot of kids that play mini cricket and then don't convert into hardball cricket. So there is a game that they came up with. It's called Meso cricket. So they're looking to implement it. They ran a couple of pilot projects. I think they, probably looking for some funding to fund the entire program, or whatever the case may be. But that is a project that will so the kids that come out of mini cricket will then, have the opportunity to go into Meso cricket. From Meso cricket, you go into hardball cricket. Now, when you go into hardball cricket, there's two avenues for you. One is school cricket and one is club cricket. So when you play school cricket, you start playing at the age of 11, 12. You start playing, school cricket, and you play at your school. So that obviously forms part of your school coach and their system, where you then obviously, they would identify you. Someone's got a bit of talent, or he's got a future, or whatever it may be, and they will work on you at that level, at school level. Similarly to club cricket as well. When you register to play for the under 11 cricket team or under 13 cricket team, the coach at the club will, spot, okay, there is something in the kid, let's give him a bit of extra attention and so on. And that happens at grassroots level.
Yeah.
Once you performing at under 13 level, you obviously, if you performing, your stats are there. You have the opportunity to be selected for the provincial under 13 team. Now, to be selected for the under 13 provincial team, we send out a notice to all the schools through the schools committee to say, and this is in consultation with the schools committee, where the trials and it are set out, the dates and so on, and the information is shared with all the schools that participate in school cricket, and they then recommend, or they would suggest, okay, we've got these 3 boys at under 13, these 4 boys at under 15, these 5 boys at under 17, whatever the case may be. There might be at sometimes a number, to say each school should only send maybe 2 or 3 kids at each level or each age group. But then it becomes the school's decision as to who do they send to the trials. You then go for the trials. Obviously, then you have your provincial coaches, the school coaches, and everyone else that's part of that trials, and that's where they will then watch the kids and spot talent, identify all of those type of things. From there they will choose the district team. So you'd first have your district trials where this would happen. You'd have the district teams are chosen. Once the district teams are chosen, all the 4 districts come together and they play a tournament, sort of like a tournament where they play against each other at the different age groups as well. And from there, you again have your provincial coaches and so on, that are part of that, where they identify and they see what is out there, what type of players are available, what's in the market, who's got talent, who's got potential, whatever it may be. They then select 13 players to represent the province at the different age groups, from under 13 to under 18, boys and girls. And then you obviously have your 3 reserve teams. Once you're in the provincial setup, you now get exposed to a different level of cricket, because now you get to play, or to train with the provincial coaches, which is more high performance. It's a level up, where they would work with you and so on. Once you get to under 16, that is where, and remember, when you go to these regional tournaments, that's where Cricket South Africa talent scouts and it are also watching. Other coaches from other provinces are also there to scout and see, what talent is in there. Once you get to about 16 years old, that's where we come in, because then at that age, CSA would have already also identified players for the under 19 team that would make up the team in 4 years' time. So they would then tell us, okay, we've watched you under 15 and under 16 team. We've picked out these boys or these girls that we see a future for them, in 4 years or 5 years' time. We would also pick out, from our own thing to say, who are the players that we want to, who we feel maybe CSA haven't picked them, but maybe, we noticed that they might have something. And then that's where one-on-one coaching starts with the relevant coaches. The coaches will give you plans for the players, to work with. They'll talk to your coaches that you deal with at school level or at club level or at the hub level, and liaise the plans with them, where the coaches at that level need to work with you as a player, on specifics and so on. And as you get older, it becomes a lot more refined, and a lot more focus gets put on these players, because then we also look at, education. So we make sure that, you go into school, you actually studying, do you need assistance from education point, all of those things, because our goal and our aim is for you to be able to get a bursary when you turn 18 to go and study at the university. That is our goal. So we focus on that part as well, to make sure that, from education point as well, you are moving in the right direction. You are giving focus to that as well, and not just to cricket. And obviously, as you move along, you get, 16, 17, 18. There's more focus. There's more one-on-one coaching that happens. That's where you get invited to camps, where we bring the consultants in, and so on and so forth. And like I said, it becomes a bit more refined, and becomes a lot more high performance, and a lot more focused and driven on excellence.
So, Mr. President, on a positive news now, we saw your women's team being promoted to a higher division. Massive congratulations to you and the girls. What has been the recipe for that success? Because even when you're looking at the under-19 Women's World Cup, we saw that you got representative there. It seems like there is something that is going on right when you are looking at the females team, as opposed to the males team. So take me to, firstly, what is the recipe for that success, and why it seems like our men's team is not moving to that direction?
So to start off with the women, they've done really well. I'm really, really proud of them. They've been phenomenal. So if I take you back when we got relegated 3 years ago, before they professionalized women's cricket, was just on the verge of at that time. And so we looked back and we said, what was our downfall? Because in terms of women's cricket, we were always on top. We were always, the best in the country, or one of the best in the country in the women's space. So what did we do wrong that allowed us to get relegated? And we've identified the problems or the issues that we faced. So we said, look, let's take it a step back. Let's start with development. right?
Yes.
And we then identified, you'll see our team is very young. A lot of
Yeah.
school-going kids in our senior team. So we've identified kids from the age of 14 going
Mm.
upwards, right?
Yeah.
That was the first part we did. We then said,
Yeah.
we then changed our club structure. So the
Yeah.
way women's cricket used to play at that time, only T20 cricket and so on and so forth. So we changed the
Yeah.
structure at club level as well, where we included 50 over cricket, and we also changed it to strength versus strength and
Yeah.
so on. So that was some of the changes we made at club cricket, and then we've obviously identified the players. I
Yeah.
must give it to the coach, Claude. He worked really hard with these players.
Yeah.
He did a lot of sessions and a lot of time he put in, and a lot of effort was put into these ladies to make sure that they achieved the success that they did. There was a lot of training that was happening. When you play in Division 2, you only play 4 games a year, right?
Yeah.
Which is literally no cricket.
Nothing.
But they would
Yeah.
practice every day. They would. There was one-on-ones being done every day. There was
Yeah.
players that stay outside of porch were given training schedules and those type of things to work with their coaches in their areas, and
Yeah.
they would come in once a week, twice a week, and they would have group sessions. So there was a lot
Yeah.
of effort put in behind the scenes from a training perspective, from a talent identification,
Yeah.
one-on-ones, working with players. We then had obviously Glencore, who came on board and said, listen,
Yeah.
we're going to stick with you guys. Tell us what you need and we'll support you. And we
Yes.
went to them with a plan and we said, listen, to get to Division 1, this is what we feel we need to do. They said, no problem. We'll make funds available for you to get there. And they
Yeah.
gave us money. We had the amount of winter camps we had, the amount of high performance camps we had, where we invited the head coaches of the Protea women.
Yeah.
We invited the academy coaches of the Protea women.
Yeah.
Former Protea players as well. We invited them that worked with the players. The amount of camps that we did with these players, and I think that and the hard work and the determination from the ladies. I think they were so determined to make it a success and to go to
Yeah.
Division 1. All of that put together just worked into the perfect winning recipe that ended up in us getting promoted back to Division 1 undefeated.
Yes.
So we now take the next step into Division 1.
Yeah.
Big difference between the two, Division 2, Division 1.
Yeah.
Exciting times, challenging times. Be interesting to see how we fare in Division 1.
Yeah.
To go to your question, why the women, not the men?
Yeah.
Remember, sometimes the seasons are so long, we tend to forget about some of the successes along the way. If you
Yeah.
remember the last season, so another season that just concluded now, the previous season, we were
Yeah.
finalists in the 50 over competition.
Yeah.
The Dragons we lost to Western Province in Cape Town in the final of the 50 over competition.
Yeah.
This past season, we finished third in the T20 competition
Yeah.
as well. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the ladies or the men are not performing or they're
Yeah.
not doing well. So if you look at the trend and you look at the stats, right?
Yeah.
And the overall statistics
Yeah.
in the overall and the individual statistics of the different competitions.
Yeah.
When we got promoted to Division 1
Yeah.
to where we are now, every
Yeah.
year on year, we've improved in every competition from 4-day
Yeah.
cricket, 50 over cricket, T20, and our overall performance. We've
Yeah.
improved year on year, or
Mm.
so when we started off, we were 8th in the
Yes.
first year. The next year we moved to 7th. The next year we moved to 6th. Next year we
Yeah.
moved to 5th. If you look at T20, the previous 2 or 3 years we finished 8th, 7th, and 6th. This last year we
Yeah.
finished third. Uh,
But the
the
4 day you
4 day,
say is different.
but the 4 days also there's improvement in that as well. So if you look at the overall
Yeah.
log standing, from we finished eighth for 2 years, we went seventh,
Yeah.
and this year we finished sixth, if I'm not mistaken, or seventh,
Yeah.
sixth or seventh, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
there is that improvement, but we also
Yeah.
not naive to say that we need a title. And I've actually put a challenge out to the Dragons men in at
Yeah.
the awards evening, and I said,
Yeah.
guys, uh, the woman brought back. So 2 years ago, 2 years ago, I challenged
Yeah.
both Claude and Craig to
Yeah.
say we need silverware. And
Yeah.
last year, Claude delivered on the challenge, and he told me, he said, "I'm going to bring you the silverware." And last year, he delivered on it.
Yeah.
And this year, and at the awards, I put a challenge back out to Craig, and I said, "The woman's brought a title, so
Yeah.
it's time now for you guys to also bring a title home." So
Yeah.
it's we're moving in the right direction. It's small steps. We
Yeah.
know, and we know everyone wants to see a title come home,
Yeah.
and we all want to see that. But for me, the more important part is the steps that we take in is forward steps, and we're not going backwards. That's the
So
important part.
yeah, so is the same program, the recipe for the success of the women's team, whereby you identify the players in the province, whereby you put that tailor-made training for them, uh, works, or are you using the same template, as you are using, at the men's cricket? Because I feel like, because more men's are professional, there is some sort of disregard to the players from the province. When you look at, I think this season, the two guys from Rustenburg will not be returning to the team, and then there is also an issue around the under 19 captain. So why are you guys not using the very same template that you are using at the women's team to the men's team? Maybe that's what we need for success. So I feel like, because it's a professional one, then everything just falls flat. You are looking for players in different provinces. Not saying that, we should only be playing with the Northwest guys, of course.
So remember the structures are very different as well, right?
Mm,
That's the first part. The structure for men and women is different.
yeah,
Uh, the second part also, like I mentioned, the women were only playing 4 games in the year in this
yeah,
past season. Now they're obviously going to play more, so their plan and the program will change as well. So they wouldn't have the same program that they had previously. The program will be amended to fit into the schedule, the playing
mm,
schedule as well.
yeah,
Uh, on the men's side, the structure is different. So
yeah,
remember, you have your academy, you have your
yeah,
Colts, and then you have your Dragons, right?
yeah,
So what we've so remember, if you playing at under 19 level,
yeah,
so once you get to under 18, that's all part of the school system and the school structure and so on.
yeah,
And if your performances are there, you
mm,
come into we take you into the academy, right? So you
yeah,
come into our academy.
yeah,
If your performances are well, your grades are good, there's an opportunity to get a bursary at the university as well.
yes,
Uh,
yes,
so you then, it's a bit more financially, also makes a bit more sense, as well for the player, because now he gets a bursary as well. But even if he doesn't get a bursary, the opportunity is still there for him to come into the academy. Remember,
yeah,
when you're at academy, you don't get paid. There's only
yeah,
there's 5 contracts that are given to academy players. But those
yeah,
5 contracts are also, it's not money that for you to
mm,
live off. It's sort of
yeah,
like spending money, if I can put it to you
yeah,
that way. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not like money
yeah,
that you can go and hire a flat and run
yeah,
a house, and no, it's
yeah,
it's small money that you get.
yeah,
It's just for your pocket money, if I can put it that
mm,
way. So once you get into the academy, you're not gonna immediately get the academy contract either.
yeah,
You first need to perform at the academy as well. So there's a full-time coach at the academy.
Yes.
That's where the dedication as an individual comes in. That's where the commitment comes in. That's where you know you wanting to achieve and succeed
Yes.
comes in, because it's the same like when you're in school, the teacher gives a lot of attention to individuals. When you get to university, it's up to you
To you too.
to take the initiative.
Mm.
The same
Yes.
thing happens once you get into the academy. So
Mm,
you got
mm.
to get to the coach. So there's a full-time academy coach that's there. You got to
Yeah.
speak to him. You got to say, Coach, help me with this. Coach, what do you think
Yeah.
of this? Coach, let's do this. Coach, can you do one-on-ones with me? Coach, whatever it may be, the initiative has to come from you, because that's where
Yeah.
the coach sees this guy is serious.
Yeah.
Yes.
This guy wants to succeed. But if you laid back and you pitch up late for training, then you don't come for training, the coach also sits and is like, this guy he's not serious about what he wants to do. He's
Yes.
not serious about
Yeah.
cricket. So, that initiative comes from individuals, has to come
From
from the
individual.
individual themselves to say, I want to succeed, I want to achieve. Coach, help me get to the top.
Yeah.
That type of thing. Once you in the academy, you obviously
Yeah.
there's the one-on-one coaching happens, the high performance coaching happens.
Yeah.
You get into the gym, all those type of things happen at the academy. You
Yes.
then get to play, in the court setup. So if you perform at academy level, you'll get selected to play in the courts. So the
Yes.
court setup is based off 6 professional players are allowed to play at the courts level. So remember, you have a squad at the Dragons of between 16 and 20 players.
Yeah.
Everyone can't play every game. So those that don't
Every game.
play
Yeah.
or are not part of the squad for the game day will be released to go and play courts cricket.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
the team is generally made up of between 3 and 6 Dragons players,
Mm.
and then between, the balance will be made up of the academy players that will play together in the court structure. So
Mm.
now these academy players are getting to play with the professionals. They're getting
Yeah.
to play at courts level, which is the middle ground between your academy and your
Dragons.
first class cricket, your Dragons. So
Yes.
that automatically you're getting exposed to a different environment itself, to a different level
Yeah.
of cricket.
Yeah.
We've also put out high performance contracts to
Yes.
players from our academy that will get high performance contracts to play for the Dragons. So how the high performance contracts work is you become part of the Dragon squad. You get the
Yes.
same benefits as the Dragon squad in a sense of,
Yeah.
training, the clothing, the access to the gym,
Yes.
all those the access type of stuff. You get the same access to all of those things. You get to
Yeah.
you get the to sit with the Dragons in the change rooms. You get access to training with them, to asking the coaches, the Dragons coaches, for assistance. You get access
Yeah.
to the physio, the strength and conditioning coach. All of these guys you get access to. You also have the opportunity, because remember when the Dragons management do selection for the team, they look at
Yeah.
first their contracted squad. If they
Yeah.
don't have what they're looking for in there, they then go to the high performance players. And if they
Yes.
don't have anyone in there, they will then go into the academy and look
Yeah.
for a player. If they're looking for, maybe there's an injury and they're looking for a specific skill or whatever it may be.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they then look at, so you have that opportunity to play, for the Dragons and make a debut as well in your first class cricket. So the structures are very different between first
Men's and
in the
women.
men and the woman. The support system is there for the men as well.
Yes.
There's actually more support system in a way for the
Yeah.
men than there is for the woman on an official structure basis.
Yeah.
So that is there, and it's all there. There is players from within our province that are in the academy that do
Yes.
get selected to go into the academy. But like I
Yeah.
say, once you get to the academy, it's like you go to university. It's up to you to make
Yeah.
it happen.
It's up
You
to you.
can't be not scoring runs but expect to get a contract.
And
You
riding
can't
on
be
the
taking
fact that you
wickets
are
and not
from
expect to
Northwest.
take. Hey?
And I say you can't be riding on the fact that you are from the province.
100%. You need to perform. I mean, we
Yeah,
we have players, and we sit with this issue where we've got talented players that come into the academy, but their focus moves away. They get involved in the wrong things, the wrong friendship
yeah,
groups, the wrong,
yeah,
and the focus is not cricket anymore.
yeah,
They late for practice. There's a sort of a disinterest. They feel they've made it already, where their journey hasn't even started. They feel like they're already professionals and the journey hasn't even started as yet. And we trying to find ways, so that's something that we're looking at to see how do we, from a mental perspective, how do we
yeah,
you know keep the boys level. How do we keep the boys in the system, get them to understand that you haven't made it as yet, there's still a lot of work to be done to move forward. There's still a very big gap between academy and dragons, all those type of things. So we trying to find ways to see how do we do that. We spend also quite a bit of money on players that we identified that came through our systems, where maybe it's told to us to say that they're not getting the traveling, so the environment they're staying in
yeah,
might be an issue. The traveling causes. We say,
yeah,
okay, we bring them closer. We pay the rent for them to come and stay, closer to the stadium. We give them a small stipend for them
yeah,
to, pocket money or whatever it may be. But the results is not coming out on the field.
yeah. You don't
You
get
speak to
return on
the coach
investment.
says the guy pitches up late for training, those type of things. When you look at the scorecard doesn't speak
To the
giving
investment
the
that we
guy
put in.
something more. So then how do you tell the Dragons management, listen, you need to give this guy a contract
Yeah,
when instead of someone from the outside, when the results are not there to show for it and the
okay, no.
commitment is not there to show for it.
Yeah, no, fair one, Mr. President. Bakang.
Yeah. Just to chip in on that point, Mr. President, because um, we've realized that we are aware, in fact, that we are losing a lot of good players due to their attitude, due to their that mentality to say, I've made it to this far, therefore I'm unstoppable. That teenage stage whereby you tell yourself, I'm the best thing ever. But then, if we are to add all of those with, you've been saying that you are looking into supporting the players, because now remember you are bringing them closer, as you said. Let's say there's transporting issues or home and closer to the stadiums, they're not there. So you find out that um one or two games that's not coming, it's not working out for them, or the numbers are not translating. You know, I think that also works up on mental his mental in his head. And remember
Mm,
now, with every player, every cricketer that's playing, with every sport, in fact, that I always want to perform in every day. And once that is not forthcoming, you find that it's affecting your mental health. So do you have like programs that are existing already, or you are looking into finding them as to support as a support program for mental health, or specifically tailored for players?
Yeah, so it's a very important point that you raise, because like I mentioned earlier, I went through the same thing, when I was younger from a mental point as well. So it's a
mm,
very important thing, and uh, it's something that we I think there's more emphasis being put on it in the last couple of years than it used to be before.
yeah,
The word or the term mental health,
mm,
and I think it's a very important part. So we do have some avenues that we utilize for, to assist players from a mental health point. But, maybe we need to do a bit more in that space as well. So I wouldn't say that, we've got it all covered, but there is avenues that we do utilize through the university and so on and so forth that and through also government hospitals or psychologists and that from the departments that we liaise with that make that make time for us and say, look, we're willing to give you time to the players that need it and so on. So there is those avenues that we have available for our up and coming players. But it's also important to note that you can't force them into these programs, and you can't it has to come from within themselves. They got to say, listen, I need some help. I'm willing to go through a program or whatever it may be. It's also a very touchy situation. If you tell a guy, listen, I think you need to go and see a psychologist, you know, you take it the wrong way and say, do you think I'm mad in my head? There is still that stigma that sits with mental health. It's not completely gone. There's more emphasis in it put around mental health, but it's not, that stigma is still not gone in society. So, people are still maybe a bit scared, to explore that avenue of dealing with mental health. And at the end of the day, it's also, like I said, it's going to come from the players themselves and say, listen, I need help and I need this. There was a couple that asked and they did receive that assistance. So, we're always there willing to assist and find ways that we, to assist these players, but we can't force it upon anyone. It's got to come from within themselves as well.
Yeah, so coach, one thing that I also want to President, one thing that I want to commend yourself with is that I've seen an improvement as far as the game's attendance. I've used to go to the JV Max Oval, sitting at the grass embankment, and I think you could count the number of people that are in the stadiums. And now, even though now I'm sitting with you where you are sitting, but I've seen a massive improvement, and I would like to say to you, big up for that. Just a last bite, what is your vision for your term? What are the short-term goals and what are the long-term goals in terms of the deliverables?
You note the attendance at the stadium. I think that's a very big part, a very big point that we put a lot of emphasis on, and you definitely will see improvement in that. So that was also a couple of strategic moves that we made, to get that done. With getting in a marketing individual that with a background in marketing and the experience in that department. So that also assisted a lot. And I can assure you, coming to the next season, that's going to improve. We're going to see a lot more people coming in with the support of the communities and so on. We expect to have a lot more people there. In terms of, the vision for Northwest Cricket, to inspire a new era of cricket excellence that is inclusive of all within the province. That's the first part of it. To create a high performance environment and a relentless winning culture within the organization.
Yes.
And to create a financially sound organization that is well governed at all levels.
Yes.
And the most important that goes to all of it is the brand. The brand of the organization, the brand called Dragons. To make it a brand of excellence that is,
We seem to be having connectivity issues with the president on my end. Um, you can hear me, Ms. Khadiza.
Yes, I can hear you. I'm just trying to find, to see if we can add a president, but um, I don't know when our I'll face that this thing, and then you start another one or what.
Hi, let's see if he's gonna rejoin again.
Okay,
Okay, he's coming back in.
it's coming back.
Yeah.
Sorry about it. I don't know what happened. It
Okay,
just cut off.
no
Yeah,
problem.
that's okay.
I don't know, where did you guys lose me? What was the last part?
The brand.
Brand, yeah.
The brand. So obviously I would want the brand called Dragons to be known. When people talk about or when they mention Dragons, immediately they need to think of excellence. They need to think of championship mentality. That's what I want the Dragon brand to resonate with. In terms
Okay.
of our goals, short-term, long-term goals, firstly is the financial sustainability of the organization. That's the first
Yeah,
part of it all.
yeah,
We need to find ways to create a sustainable uh, income and expense
mm,
balance sheet. We need to find ways to increase our revenue generation,
yeah,
and that's all part of the plan that we are busy with at the moment. Part of the
yeah,
strategic plan that I mentioned. I'm going to be giving
yeah,
to presenting to the board in another couple of weeks' time.
yes, yeah,
Um, Commercial viability.
yeah.
I think we, as a brand, we are not out there enough. We don't have,
Okay.
we haven't pumped the brand enough to not even within our province. I think
Mm,
we undersell our brand. We haven't marketed it enough over the years. Uh,
yeah,
People don't really, know Northwest Cricket or know the Dragons brand as such, the way they're
yeah,
supposed to know it as a professional sporting team, a sporting organization. You
yeah,
know, uh, there's a lot of work in that space that we need to do, and
yeah,
once we get all of that right,
mm,
automatically funding becomes available, because once you do that correctly, you
mm,
financially sustainable, you commercially viable, and your marketing is top
top
notch.
class.
People get
Mm,
involved, other brands get involved, and immediately funding becomes available that you can then reallocate to development and so on and so forth. So, like I said earlier, short-term pain, long-term gain.
yeah,
And that talks to that, because we first need to tighten everything up.
yes,
And once we've tightened it all up, we will then reap the rewards of that. And then it will be available for us to open it up again, and let things run through to the various parts and various structures of the organization that will benefit everyone,
yeah,
and it will be in a sustainable way to do that. But currently you can't sustain it, so you got to tighten it up first, and then once all you reap the rewards, you can then open it up. Winning a title as a Dragons main team, that's
of
a
course.
goal. Staying in Division 1 for our ladies,
Yes,
that's another goal.
yeah,
And I would love to see another one or two players
yeah,
at coming from the grassroots of Northwest Cricket, going
yeah,
into the Dragon setup. So whether
Yeah.
it be high performance, whether it be rookie contract, full-term contract, whatever, but within the system and the setup of the Dragons, I would love to see one or two players coming through our system and our structure and going through to the Dragon system and the Dragon
Mr.
setup.
President, one last thing before Bakang gets in. I know there are a lot of guys who are doing a great job as far as development in the Dr. Party. There is a guy called Rizzo Mosepeli in Swazrenek, and I know Kamohelo Low, who is the board member, is doing an amazing work in the Freiburg area. So I don't know if you are going to go for a second term. It's something that you are looking for, but please, I will want you to deliver the hub in the Dr. Party. Talk to the people that you're supposed to talk to. All I'm asking for you is a cricket hub. Then I think we will see an excitement, coming from that district.
Uh, it's something that we've been fighting for. It's a we've been fighting for it. It's the only district that doesn't have a hub.
Yes.
But to be fair and honest with you, if it's gonna happen, we're gonna have to find our own money to make it happen. It's not
Okay.
gonna happen from Cricket South Africa.
Yeah.
Cricket South Africa is actually embarking on a project where they evaluating all the hubs in the country.
Yeah.
And there is a possibility that hubs might be cut
Yeah.
across the country. So, or maybe repurposed. So it's either they're gonna cut them out completely or they're gonna repurpose them into mass participation hubs.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say, and I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to promise you one or I'm going to promise something to happen. I'll
Yeah.
be lying if I did that. But it's something that we've always been looking at, and we've always, tried to find ways. How do we go about it? How do we fund such a thing, and so on. But it's a difficult task, and we would need a company to come on board and
Yeah.
say, you know
Okay.
what, we're willing to make some funding available to you guys to run that hub because it's not a cheap affair. A hub is a very expensive affair to run.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we would need support and it from the outside, from businesses and so on or from maybe even from government to come on board and say, listen, we'll support you guys in this venture of creating a hub. But not to say we just say that it won't happen.
Yeah.
We will all continuously try to make it happen. I do owe the guys a visit in Freiburg and that's something that is on my schedule to go to that area as well, which I will be doing in the next month. I will definitely be visiting them there.
Okay. Bakang.
Mr. President, I would like, in passing, I would like to say, man, kudos to you for holding it down. You are one of the youngest presidents. So now, remember now where does Northwest Cricket come from? And then just then in the middle of the turmoil that he found himself in, and now you now need to feel that as the youngest, and then there's always those old people that we have to go through with respect of course. And then now we hear it. You can see, as you said, with the mainstream, okay, although they are taking it literal one second, something in 7, 2, 5. So it's little progress is progress. So I hope in the next coming say 2 or 3 seasons we actually get to lift the silverware as Northwest Cricket. Yeah, we wish you all the best in that. And then in terms of brand awareness, although you did mention that um it's not where you want it to be, but over the years when I tracked it, at some point it took a literal nosedive and it went to the bottom. So at least now it's on the rise, and then there is um we can notice, people can notice it, people can see when you talk about Northwest Dragons, who are you talking to, although it's not there. And then the love for cricket was rejuvenated around the Dr. Kenneth Kaunda region, or even the Northwest as a whole, because you're saying people are coming to the stadiums now, and you can literally now cannot count one. You can see a whole group of people. Kudos to that. We hope to see a sold out one in the coming season, hopefully. So all the best in that. And then if the team is doing well financially, and then administration part of things is doing well, it's obviously gonna reflect positive on you, and then that will only mean that the the development path type way, then it's gonna be clear. Then we're gonna see more and more Northwest players coming from Northwest being there, having that, getting those contracts and whatnot, and then the team performing at the highest level. Because ultimately, for the team to do good on the financial side of things, the performance needs to be there. So we hope that with the progress that we see now, then it's something that you don't let lose of. You keep it going, and then in the next season or two, then they actually deliver a silverware. And I think that in its way will open path for a lot of great things to come in the union. Thank you.
No, definitely, definitely. And thank you to both of you guys. I think what you mentioned now is important, and it's actually very key to the success of this organization. You know, the Dragons performing, whether it be men or women, those are, our flagship teams, and they represent the organization in front of everyone, in front of the TVs and so on. So how they perform out there has a direct reflection, direct impact on Northwest cricket and cricket in the Northwest. You mentioned where we come from and where we are, and where we're going. Like I said, I grew up in Northwest cricket. Northwest cricket. I've been part of Northwest cricket even before I was born, when I was in my mom's stomach already, going to the stadium in Fochville, when the stadium was still there. Going to Veteran at the offices when I was still a baby. So Northwest cricket is in my blood. Northwest cricket is part of who I am. It's part of my family. And it's something that I would never want to see die, or never want to see go down, or even get hurt. It's that type of connection that I have with Northwest cricket. I would never want to see it hurt. I would only want to see success and see the organization move from strength to strength and become one of the biggest sporting clubs and sporting organizations in the country. That is, where I would want to see, in a perfect world, Northwest cricket would be the best in the world, or the best in the country at least. But it's not a perfect world, and a lot of work that to get it there. But I'm confident that if we continuously, I might not see it during my term, but it's important for me to lay down the foundation and to lay down, the correct structures, and put the correct structures in place for us to achieve that. So, even if clubs want me to do a second term, because that's ultimately not up to me, it's up to clubs and up to the affiliates if they want me or not. And if they do want me, it's just about growing, and the foundation should have been already laid there for whether it be me, whether it be for someone else, to grow upon that, and in the next 10 years, 20 years, that growth to just continue happening, and for us to continuously move forward, step by step, just move in the right direction.
Okay, so I just want to let you know that you have our support. We will work side by side with you because we are from, even now we are in Gauteng, but we are from Northwest, Bakan is from, we are both from Taung. He's from a village called Moretela, I'm a village called Mahaneng, which doesn't have any cricketing movement. But I will want to assure you that as the boundary line, you have our support. Ultimately, we want our cricket union to be a success. Thank you so much for taking your time to join us on the boundary line, sir. You are the first guest. I have to let you know that.
I am truly honored. I'm truly honored. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for making a time and for inviting me as your first guest on your podcast. And I
Yeah,
wish you all the success in the world with your podcast and with your dealings as a media representative and so on. Thank you so much for having me here. I really
thank
enjoyed it.
Thank you,
Thank you,
thank you.
guys.
We just hope that you won't be a stranger, even if things are not going good. Please allow us to invite you again so that you can come and explain a lot of things because
Anytime.
you know that's how you keep yourself as people will respect you in that sense. That if things are going good or bad, I'm able to come in front of the people and say my side of the story. So don't be a
No,
stranger.
100%.
So
100% I agree with you, and I will always be available to do this again. Good or bad, always available, always willing to put our side or set the record straight for whatever the case may be.
you.
But yeah, thank you, and I do hope we do this again.
okay, thank you very much. Have a good one, Trevor.
Thank you, thank you. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Yes.